my senior project, we first have to understand a little bit about my grandfather. He is 78 years old. He immigrated from Vasto, Italy on June 4th, 1952 to the United States with his sister Jean. And he has been cooking for as long as I can remember. Some of my best memories come from my family gathered around his cooking at the table. But some of my fondest, and particularly the best ones, come from my time at Long Beach Island at our beach house. My grandfather will start cooking at around 11 o'clock in the afternoon and continue until LBI time, or whenever the food is ready. Then, after a long day of playing on the beach and crashing through the waves, somebody yells, "Food's ready, everybody on the table." Now, why we say everybody on the table is beyond me, but my Aunt Anna says it, so now we all say it. And then we gather around the table on the deck and dig into steaming bowls of pasta. It was these memories and my desire to capture them that gave way to my idea for my senior project, which was to create a cookbook based off of my grandfather's recipes. I kind of figured that this would be easy because I would copy recipes that he had already written down, but my grandfather has no recipes. After years of experience and being able to tell how food can be cooked through his senses, he doesn't need them. So he uses what I call sensory cooking, which is basically, this color looks right, that's enough of this ingredient. Or this tastes good, it's fine. Or that smells right, that looks right. That's how he cooks. It's easy to follow a recipe, and it's easy to say, I followed this recipe and I created a great dish. It's another thing entirely to create your own dish and have the ability to improve upon your own dish. This, to me, is the true way of cooking. When I first started this project, I asked about red sauce, which is something pretty much all of you have probably eaten at some point or other in your life. He makes his own, so I asked, how many tomatoes do you put in red sauce? And he said, it depends. I'm like, okay, what do you mean it depends? So obviously I'm confused, because I assumed that he had a mental recipe in his head and that he followed it. So I asked another question. How much olive oil do you use when you saute the garlic, and how much garlic do you use? And his reply was, enough olive oil to coat the bottom of the pan, and use as much garlic as you want, which is a true Italian answer. So right then and there, I was like, this project is doomed. There's no way this can happen. There's no measurements. How is this going to work? But it was over time that I started to understand my grandfather's style of cooking. For example, when he makes cream sauce, he just adds half and half to the pan. And when it becomes a white or yellowy color, it's ready. But for the purposes of making a recipe book, how do you translate what you can tell by sight to something that's a measurement? That's what I had to figure out. So I stopped asking questions and I just started watching. It was at that point when I stopped asking and started watching that I started to develop my own sensory skills. I recorded everything my grandfather did in the kitchen, and translating his style was like trying to learn a new language. But I still did it. For example, for him, a pinch of any spice is about 1/4 tablespoon. And you can never really have enough garlic in one meal. And that ingredients can tell us when they're ready to be used. A simple example is a pot of boiling water. You see the water's boiling, you can hear the air escaping, but not everything is that easy. Something that I remember him showing me was pizza. My grandfather makes his own pizza. Once he had mixed all the ingredients together, he let it sit, and then proceeded to point out to me that there were bubbles on the top of the mixture. This means that the yeast is active and now can be kneaded into dough. These might be the only measurements my grandfather gave me for any recipe. Other than that, I was on my own to figure out recipes. Had it not been with the help from my grandmother, who helped me with over 15 recipes and gave me measurements and dug out old recipes I probably would not have a cookbook. And then, of course, I had to ask my whole family, because they were like, what are you going to put in the book? It better be good. And I'm like, well, of course. So I opened it up to them, and they all, of course, said the classics. Like, for us, the classics are spaghetti and seafood, Clam's Casino, homemade pizza. So after getting those, and after getting everyone's requests and suggestions, and even a request from my aunt and uncle who said that the whole book should just be the Thanksgiving menu, I had over 30 recipes to choose from, ranging from breakfast to dessert. So, of course, I pulled out the classics, the ones my whole family loved. And I chose a few others that interest me that I had never made before or heard of. In total, I have 17 recipes in my cookbook. I have made a few of them. I have helped to cook most of them. But the hardest part about making the book was, again, translating his style of cooking into something understandable. It took weeks to do this, and I made hundreds of revisions to everything that I wrote. But I successfully created the book. Which I titled in his language, Cibi di Famiglia Italiana, which means food of the family. Family to me is really important in my life, and it's not just because I'm Italian. Good food has a good habit of bringing people together from all walks of life, and I think that's incredible. My family can come together for a special occasion or for just a simple meal on the deck. Of course, homemade food is part of the draw. You really can't compare pizza from the frozen food aisle to homemade pizza straight out of the oven, but I know why my grandfather loves to cook. As a chef, there's no greater pleasure than watching people enjoy your food. I've learned so much from this experience. How to come at a problem from different angles, not to ask so many questions, know how to use my senses rather than blindly follow a recipe. I didn't cook much, but I still got the basic skills to start. I'm already thinking about writing a second cookbook because I have a lot of recipes left over. And I want all of my grandfather's recipes to be written down and recorded, and I want to cook all of them. He has a lot to teach me, and I have a lot to learn. Food has always been a huge part of my life, and I look forward to being the one who cooks it. Thank you.
Alabama, Arkansas, I love my mom, Paul, not the way that I do love you. Holding, real wide, you know the apple of my heart, always been to the happiness. There ain't nothing that I want. Heaven, pumpkin pie, chocolate cake, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing really more than you. Oh, let me come home. Home is where I'm with you. Oh, let me come home. Home is where I'm with you. Mountain waterfalls, and the crazy life on cars. I'm made every with you. That's true. And on the sunlight, it's sweeter than you. And in the streets we run free, like it's only you and me. Cheating is something to see. Oh, and we are home. Always wherever with you. Oh, and we are home. Always wherever with you.
Jay,
Alexander,
do you remember that day you fell out of my window?
I sure do. Can't jump when that happens.
Well, you fell on the concrete there to go dress. Bleeding all over the place, and I rushed you out to the hospital. You remember that?
Yes, I
Well, there's something I told you was there. Sitting in that seat, smoking cigarettes, we thought it was going to be your last. I was talking to you. Let me come home. Home is where I'm with you.
home. Yes, I am home. Home is when I'm alone with you.
So I have a few thank yous to my parents for driving me back and forth from my grandmother's house and for putting up with my stress and all-around support. To my grandfather and my mentor for helping me through this, and to my grandmother for letting me use her new kitchen as my research lab. To my class, you guys have been awesome. These past 5 years have been amazing, and I couldn't imagine a better class to be graduating with, so thank you all.